1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Sumaira Kamal. The headlines first. Prime Minister says the government is committed to provide facilities and incentives to overseas Pakistanis for their immense contribution to the development of the country. A consignment of 2.5 million doses of Moderna COVID-19 vaccine donated by United States to Pakistan arrived in Islamabad today. Foreign Office says Pakistan has repeatedly called on the international community to collectively act against Islamophobia. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops in their fresh act of state terrorism martyred 5 Kashmiri youth during a cordon and search operation in Pulwama district today. The US and NATO forces have handed over Bagram Air Base to the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces. The second T20 of the 3-match series between Pakistan women and West Indies women will be played at College tonight. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan has directed the relevant ministries to consider extending more incentives to overseas Pakistanis to attract maximum remittances. Chairing a meeting in Islamabad today regarding increase in foreign remittances, he said overseas Pakistanis are a precious asset of the country and the remittances sent by them have an important role in the country's economic stability. The Prime Minister said the government is determined to extend the full facilitation to overseas Pakistanis and their families. Imran Khan also emphasized the need for evolving a strategy to achieve the targets set for different sectors. The meeting was informed that the National Remittance Loyalty Program will soon be introduced for the facilitation of overseas Pakistanis. Under this program, a mobile app will be launched and more financial incentives will be extended to overseas Pakistanis. The program will be launched in cooperation with different departments including PIA, FBR, NADRA, State Life, OPF and Benevolent and Old Age Employees Fund. It was informed that Roshan Apna Ghar scheme will also be launched soon for overseas Pakistanis. The Board of Investment informed the meeting that every possible effort is being made on the part of the government to facilitate the foreign investment in the country. The State Bank of Pakistan apprised the meeting that the government's policy of extending incentives to the overseas Pakistanis is yielding positive results. The meeting was informed that about $1.56 billion have so far been received in Roshan digital account in a short period of 10 months and there is a consistent increase in the inflows. Prime Minister Imran Khan has commended Federal Board of Revenue for achieving historic level of tax revenues of 4,732 billion rupees during fiscal year 2020-2021. In a tweet today, he said this is 18% higher than last year and exceeded target of 4,691 billion rupees. The Prime Minister said this performance is testimony to the strong economic revival spurred by government's policies. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Chaudhry Fawad Hussain says the government has achieved the highest export target of country's history with an increase of 18% in the fiscal year 2020-2021. In a tweet today, he said if the services sector is also included, the exports are of more than $31 billion. The minister expressed the confidence that the exporters would be an important pillar of Pakistan's economic stability in the years to come ahead. A consignment of 2.5 million doses of Moderna COVID-19 vaccine donated by United States to Pakistan arrived at Islamabad International Airport today. According to a press release issued by the US Embassy, these vaccines are being delivered in partnership with the COVAX Global Vaccine Initiative, UNICEF and the Government of Pakistan. In a statement, US Embassy Charge d'Affaires Angela P. Agler said these vaccines will help Pakistan emerge from these crises which has devastated so many families and communities. Pakistan has repeatedly called on the international community to collectively act against Islamophobia, including by taking effective actions through the United Nations. In a statement, Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry said Pakistan has also been expressing concerns regarding terrorist threat posed by the far-right or extreme right-wing groups. The UN General Assembly has unanimously adopted the revised global counter-terrorism strategy and called on the international community to take appropriate measures to address new and emerging terrorist threats on the basis of xenophobia, racism and Islamophobia. The initiative for the recognition of Islamophobia as an emerging terrorist threat was spearheaded by Pakistan together with other OIC countries. The UN Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy also stresses for ending direct and indirect forms of religious and racial discrimination and counter incitement to hatred and violence propagated by terrorist groups on such basis. Pakistan had asked the ASEAN member countries to consider making investments in special economic zones being established under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project. The call was made by Foreign Secretary Suhail Mahmood while delivering a keynote address at the Experts Dialogue on Pakistan-ASEAN Shared Future and the Way Forward. The Foreign Secretary said Pakistan accords high priority to its relations with Southeast Asian nations. He specifically stressed the importance of forging closer cooperation between Pakistan and ASEAN in political, economic, security, tourism, education, and socio-cultural domains. The Foreign Secretary highlighted the range of steps taken by Pakistan to foster multifaceted engagement and deepen trade and economic linkages with ASEAN member states. Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority has taken serious notice of abrupt cancellation of inbound flights by few international airlines despite presence of clear inbound policy. The authority has directed all airlines to refrain from overbooking that eventually leads to such abrupt cancellation of flights, resulting into inconvenience Pakistani diaspora travelling to Pakistan. This is Radio Pakistan. Minister for Science and Technology Shibli Faraz has said that all possible efforts will be made to remove the hurdles in manufacturing of the components of the solar systems in the country. Speaking at a webinar, he said protection of local manufacturers is highly significant for the development of local industry. The minister said the Ministry of Science and Technology is working to devise a strategy to develop effective coordination with our highly skilled diaspora for the transfer of technology and product development. Leading experts from Silicon Valley, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Malaysia, and other parts of the world participated in the webinar. Romanian ambassador to Pakistan called on Naval Chief Admiral Amjad Khan Niazi in Islamabad today. During the meeting, they discussed matters pertaining to mutual interest and regional security. On the occasion, the naval chief lauded the steps taken for cooperation between Pakistan and Romania in shipmaking. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops in their fresh act of state terrorism martyred 5 youth in Pulwama district today. The youth were martyred during a cordon and search operation in Rajpura area of the district. According to a report released by Kashmir Media Service today, Indian troops have martyred 16 innocent Kashmiris during last month. Meanwhile, in a statement in Srinagar, All Parties Hurriyat Conference spokesperson said Narendra Modi-led fascist Indian government is resorting to cheap tactics to implicate Pakistan in the ongoing drama about farcical drone attacks in Jammu. Israeli aircraft have bombed a weapons manufacturing site belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip. In a statement, Hamas spokesperson Fauzi Barhoum termed the strikes a showy reaction and urged Israel to respect the rights of Palestinian people and walk back to its unjust positions. Meanwhile, Egypt and the United Nations have stepped up mediation efforts to ensure a ceasefire agreed in May. The Saudi-led coalition fighting in Yemen destroyed a bomb-laden drone fired by Houthi rebels towards the Khamis Mushat city of Saudi Arabia today. In a statement, the coalition said this was the third attack in 48 hours. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Liz, says Houthi rebels launched 128 drone raids and 31 ballistic missile attacks on Saudi Arabia since beginning of this year. The US and NATO forces have handed over Afghanistan's Bagram Air Base to the Afghan National Army as the US forces pull-out is underway. The US forces have so far handed over 6 military bases to the Afghan forces. The airfield is located 69 kilometers north of Kabul in the central province of Parwan. The handover of the airfield to Afghan forces shows that last of roughly 2,500 to 3,500 US troops have left Afghanistan, and after their departure, fewer than 1,000 troops would remain in the city. President has said the US forces will leave Afghanistan by 11 September. Meanwhile, 23 people, including security personnel, have been killed in attacks Taliban in Badakhshan and Baghlan provinces. According to official sources, some military vehicles and weapons also fell to the Taliban. The second T20 of three-match series between Pakistan women and West Indies women will be played at Colleagues tonight. The match will start at 2300 hours Pakistan Standard Time. West Indies women lead the series by 1-0. And finally, the weather. Rain, wind with thunderstorm is expected in upper central Punjab, upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir, Gilgit, Baltistan and Pothohar region during the next 12 hours. While hot, dry weather is likely to prevail over other parts and very hot in plain areas of the country. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/radio Pakistan.